Welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Brokerage Podcast. Today, Bill has been kind enough to bless us with some of his time, share some of his experiences being a brokerage owner that he's had in his real estate career as a whole. So I'll kick it off right to Bill and let him tell us a little bit about himself and his business.
Yeah, appreciate it. I'm glad you guys had us on here. So we've talked with you guys a couple times in the past, so it's good to connect and catch back up. So yeah, my name's Bill Jones. My wife Kelly and I own a Remax franchise in Northwest Ohio. Actually, we own two, one in Tiffin, one in Findlay, Ohio. We also own a mortgage brokerage, which I'm sitting in here right now. Here, that's where we have our podcast studio as well.
Oh, nice.
Been in real estate for about 20 years altogether. Brokerage has been open since 2016 then. So we've expanded. We started with just a handful of agents. Currently between the two offices, we have just under 20 agents altogether. We're in a very, I guess what's unique about us, we're in a very small town market. We attend a lot of different conferences, virtually, in person, things like that. And you hear some of these markets where big numbers, big sales. We do quite a few transactions kind of per agent, but our dollar figure is really low. So that's been one of our big challenges is kind of competing with that. So still looking to grow. We've got, I guess, big plans in the future. We'll see what comes of it here then too. But we're doing the thing.
Nice. Well, and I know you mentioned being in a smaller market. And where are you based out of there?
We're in Northwest Ohio. I'm sitting in Tiffin, Ohio, and we have another office in about 30 minutes west of us in Findlay, Ohio. The Remax I joined originally was in that office in that direction then, and we've subsequently opened up a new franchise that direction. So yeah, Northwest Ohio is currently cold and snowing. So
oh yeah, that's one nice thing. We're out here in Arizona. That's
right.
One thing I do love is not having to shovel any snow in the winter.
Right. Yeah. Well, you get a full 4 seasons here in Ohio, which again is nice. We're it's small. You can get anywhere, within a couple hours. There's a lot to do.
Love it. Well, tell us a little bit about how did you first get started in real estate? When was that, and what was kind of your first initial step into the real estate world?
Right. So I got started in my real estate role, like just about everybody in real estate. It wasn't my first choice. I've always enjoyed real estate. I always thought it was interesting. Started investing at a pretty early age. Some of that went well, some not so much. Actually got licensed in 2005, really just with a small local brokerage. I'm actually also an auctioneer. So that brokerage I joined because he was an auctioneer as well. Did my apprenticeship under him with that then too. Went hand in hand to have your real estate license with that then. So first auctioneer, then became a real estate agent, and then just struggled like crazy for years to really get my footing then. So again, coming from a small office, it was just everybody kind of did their own thing. There wasn't really any training, support. Lead gen wasn't even a thing. This was, again, back in 2005. So
really?
I don't even know if Zillow existed at that point. I mean, if it did, it wasn't anything like it is today, realtor.com, things like that. There just wasn't a whole lot going on. So you really had to go out and do your old fashioned, we're running newspaper ads or doing that fun stuff. Just got going, and then 2008 happened. So 2008, 9, 10, 11, and if anybody was in real estate at that time, they know it was rough. It was bad. I never gave up, never hung up my license. Had so many agents that did that, kept at it, to like my wife and family's chagrin. We dug ourselves a pretty deep hole, trying to survive through that. But then once we came out of that, things really started to pick up, and we found a couple of times during slow times, the agents that really kept to it, kept producing, whatever they did, as long as their butt was in the seat, those agents usually came out shining once the market kind of picked up. So that's kind of where I got my start. Really where I picked up traction was when I started doing video messaging to potential clients, like when we first did Zillow ads and things like that. I was probably one of BombBomb, if you're familiar with that, video messaging service. I was probably one of their first customers. I still am today yet. So I've had that for probably since 2013, I'm going to say, or it was right when they got started with that. So a lead would come in, I would start sending a video message, hey, Bob, it's great. Glad you reached out to 123 Main Street. This Bill with Remax. I can't remember what I was with at that time then. But we got your message on that, and can't wait to hear from you. Here's my information below, just simple as that. And that really made me stand out from a lot of other people, other agents trying to connect with people. So kind of really got going from there. We always wanted to open up our own brokerage. The Remax office I joined, talked to the broker then, said, hey, we're going to start our own thing. He was good with that. Within probably a couple of years, got my broker's license, got up and running. He probably brought me on board. Like, yeah, right, kid, you're never going to get anything started here. So, tell me whichever you want to tell me. So, but we came back to our small town of Tiffin, opened up a brokerage, and yeah, we've really been chugging along ever since.
That's awesome. Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. And tell me a little bit about on the marketing and lead gen side. How do you get the word out there? How do you, to prospective agents in the area? How do you let them know kind of, what value we have there?
Right, right. Yeah. So you talking to other real estate agents or
Oh yeah,
clients?
tell the real estate agents in
The
the
other agents, so we do. I'm an active producer, so I'm the principal broker, but I'm probably one of our top producing agents then as well, and that's really helped me keep in the business. I know as a full-time broker, a lot of brokers probably wouldn't look kindly upon that. If you're being a broker, wear your broker hat. But I do enjoy. I love the hunt. I love the kill. I love getting out there helping people buy houses, sell houses. More on the list side. So me being in the trenches, talking to other agents constantly, has probably been a big part of our recruiting efforts. We actually talked with you guys before about some of the recruiting programs you have and things like that. When I talked to Alan,
yeah.
we would love to have worked together, but we just had a good, honest conversation. He's like, look, you probably have the agents you want in your little communities. He didn't put it like that. I'm putting it like that. You're probably not going to be able to grow unless you go, more virtual, something like that, which at that time we weren't ready to do. You're really not going to be able to bring in a whole lot more people. So that's kind of where we're at in both our markets. There's not a ton of other agents. Well, I mean, I guess there is a lot of other agents, but the agents that we would want, we have a majority of those agents in our offices now. So just doing deals with them, keeping in front of people, having good conversations. And we're a no nonsense, no drama, like leave it at the door kind of office. We try to keep that as much for all the agents. Every deal gets hairy. They can have their issues, but don't put yourself in the way of the client in front of the way of the deal. So other agents have been really receptive to that. We've had a lot of people come on board simply because of that. They don't want office drama. They don't want problems. And, I'm painting maybe a poor picture. It's not that bad, but
yes. No, I know what you mean. You want to come to work, be happy to come into work, not be like stressed, like, oh man, is Jim going to be in today? Oh man, I hope Jim's not in the office today. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and that's literally the one when we went to training a long time ago. My wife Kelly and I talked about that. We don't ever want that office where somebody is not. They drive by because so and so is there. We don't ever want. We've been big on culture, trying to make sure everybody's comfortable, and we've always really tried to pour into the individuals that want the help and want if you want to succeed, I want you to succeed, and I'm going to do everything I can to do it. It's just I can't want it for you. That's where we've struggled. Yeah. Some of the agents we've brought on, especially some of the newer ones, I literally will tell them, I cannot want it for. I do want it for you, but I can't want it for you so bad that it's going to make you successful. You got to put the time in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And have you ran into anything like that with the newer agents where kind of giving them that hand holding piece has helped out and kind of helped them take that next step?
Yeah.
Do you have any stories like that?
Yeah, for sure. So you asked about lead gen too. So a lot of what we do, we do the traditional Zillow leads, Realtor.com, home, a lot of, they're expensive, they are, but I mean, it's a way to get the phone to ring. It's a way to get people, in communication with a potential client possibly. So that's great for a lot of the new ones. We've always, right from the get-go, try to get we have agents that have been in the business for over 40 years, and then we have agents that have been in the business for like a few months. So really? we got quite the spread. So we found the 40 plus veterans, they don't want to do a lot of the, they want to work here and things like that. But the newer ones, especially, you get them a Zillow call, train them up a little bit with that. But we've been real big on trying to get them to build their own brand and kind of build their own leads. A lot of that is social media. Social media is great. If I weren't in the business I'm in, I would probably try to avoid it like the plague. But we do have fun with it as much as we can. So you got to build your presence. Start, really taking care of people. And then once you're a year or 2 years in, you start getting some of that reciprocating business and repeat and referral clients. But it takes time. Everybody that comes into the business that says, I'll tell people when they walk in the door, I'm going to try to talk you out of being a real estate agent. First conversation, if I can get you out of here, if you see you're sitting here in 30 minutes an hour, I know you're probably serious about it. And if their first thing out of their mouth is like, oh, I love HGTV, I love whatever,
love $1 million listings. Yeah.
Yes, I love it too. It's awesome, but it's not. We've actually done some of the HGTV shows, the Lake Hunters homes, and I'm telling you, it's not real. That's not real life. That's not what real estate's all about. So I like looking at a home too, but after you've shown that same house 5, 10, 20 times, you don't want to see that house anymore. So you get over the homes pretty quick. So you generally have to have a heart to want to help people get into homes and take care of their family. So I literally try to talk people out of getting in the business if they've never been in the business to start with, but that seemed to help.
Yes, no, that's nice. Giving them the honest perspective on it, not the $1 million listing perspective or the HGTV perspective on it.
Yep.
Giving them, the real hard, but from the industry directly perspective is definitely helpful. And I'm sure it's probably saved some agents a lot of time.
Yeah, right.
That would have maybe got started and been like, oh man, I don't get to fly to my houses I'm showing on a helicopter. What?
Yeah. I didn't show them 3 homes and we picked one out. Like, no, that's not how it really works. You might show them 30 homes.
Nice. And I know you mentioned before, that recruiting is a big push in the market that you guys have. Most agents, you would want in the market there. How do you guys kind of keep a grasp on the newer agents coming into the market so we can kind of find out if those are guys that you want in the, in the brokerage or maybe kind of, pass on for now?
So we talked to, we're good. We've actually had very good luck with new agents. I know a lot of brokerages avoid new agents, but it's been good to, I guess you bring in an experienced agent, sometimes you almost have to untrain them. If they want to plug into your systems, if they don't want to plug into your systems, that's fine. You can kind of do your own thing. But the newer agents, we keep we're pretty open and honest with most of our agents. Like, look, guys, we're looking to grow. We've never tried to have, a fixed pie mindset. We have an abundance mentality. And with real estate agents and everybody being competitive, I'm super competitive too. It's hard to kind of get that instilled in everybody. But it's like, look, guys, whatever cliche expression you want to use, the raising tide raises all ships. The more people we have, the more signs in yards, the more things we can advertise off of, generates more leads, more opportunities for everybody. So we ask our agents a lot of times, how was your experience with XYZ agent? How was your experience with this? And tell me about that deal. So we really kind of get a boots on the ground perspective from our agents in our office. Because we'll get those ones like, holy crow, I'm never working with, if I never work with that agent again, that's fantastic, So we know, well, maybe we don't want to talk to that agent necessarily. But if somebody says, hey, that great experience, or what a fantastic deal, or man, that deal was tough, but we powered through it. Those are the ones we talk to. And I'll myself then sometimes try to follow up and talk to that agent, and I'd never really be sales call. One of my mentors had told me once upon a time, you just want to be there, like the backup, I guess, something like that. Be their next broker, be their broker before you are their broker. And that's helped too, to where I get a lot of agents that call from multiple markets that will call me. They're not with us and say, hey, Bill, I got this situation, I got this thing. I'm like, why are you calling? I appreciate you calling me, but have you called your broker? I can't get a hold of them, or they don't know what the hell they're talking about, or they don't whatever. And again, I love most of the brokers in our area, but there's some that are that just, they're a body count place and they're not really worried about the agent. They just want numbers. So, and those unfortunately are some of the agents that we get to talk to and help solve the problem. So I always have to be careful with that. Like, I'm not your broker. I can't give you really any advice, but what you're telling me, I would probably do this. You do whatever you want. I would talk to your broker, talk to some of the agents in your office. So I guess being available for other people's questions, whether you're their person or not, it is helpful.
Yeah, and one of the best abilities we can have in real estate is availability, right?
Right. Yep. And that goes back to part of that deal. Like, I'm still in the trenches. I'm still doing deals. I'm still with our new contract, things like that. So it's not like I've removed myself completely and I'm sitting in some back office for 10 years. So I don't know what it's like. So if an agent calls me, I just did that. Or we were just dealing with a new contract. I know what you're talking about. That's terrible. So
that is one of the great things, having a connection, whether it be in your own office, in another office, someone that's, been in the industry, they've done it before and they've done it recently, obviously with all the, different things that have kind of changed over the past year. That's huge for us, as an agent to grow, as a broker to grow. It's just big for the, the industry, for us to keep evolving there.
No, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, and tell me a little bit about kind of what's the future vision for you guys over there. Where I know it's kind of beginning of 2025 here. Where do you guys see yourselves headed this year?
Sure, we really do. We tried to be intentional. We don't want to be, I kind of referenced before, we don't want to be just a body shop. Like, we just want people. We want good agents. We want people that want to succeed. We want to be able to pour ourselves into that, because it's frustrating as a business owner and a broker. You pour time, money, blood, sweat, and tears into somebody, and then they never do anything with it, or they just get started and like, this isn't for me, and they walk away. So we want to be intentional about who we bring on, because we've had, too many painful experiences with that. We do want to grow. We found that we're going to have to be more of a virtual setup than too, and we've been very digital and very technology forward for a long time, but we're not going away from the brick and mortar. We have several very nice offices, but they're expensive. They're hard to maintain. You can't put up a brand new office on every, downtown street corner. and everything in Ohio and everywhere in America, we do want to continue to grow, but we know we're going to have to go more of a virtual setup if we're going to grow. And there's just in Ohio, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of agents that I'm sure we'd love to have a conversation with, but we just have to have the setup and the platform available to be able to do that virtually.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that we do offer for our agents, like we have a free moving truck and we have a Matterport camera and drone and things like that. It's stuff that is great for agents that are here. It's a great value add to our clients, but it's not scalable. And we're looking at things that can scale, because if someone's down in Columbus, Ohio, hour and a half, 2 hour drive, the Matterport camera is going to get there very easily. The drone is, can't fly itself there. Someone's not going to come up there and use our moving truck. So I almost feel like we have to scale some of that back or keep it local and build more to a digital offering for, both our clients and our agents. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know, I'm sure you could attest to as well, since, kind of the whole COVID and everything happened there, we shut down and we're only in the virtual space.
Right.
Everyone's a lot more open to it now. Agents, buyers, sellers, everyone's a lot more familiar, and I think comfortable too with the virtual space and the online meetings and everything. So definitely has helped us, in that case, when we're in kind of expansion. That's the, best way for us to expand, financially,
Right.
is, in that online space. Then those, it has been a little bit of help, getting people more comfortable with it and more transactions being done virtually. They kind of have a track record now.
Awesome. And our agents, it's even still, they want the office. They want, it's kind of a double-edged sword. They want the office. They want their own desk. They want their own space. And I'm sitting in an office now with 7 desks sitting here, and there's not one person sitting here at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's like, everybody wants that, but they just don't seem to utilize it. So then you've got, all your, for any broker, any business owner, they know, I mean, you're paying for the lights, you're paying for the internet, you're paying for the copier that keeps breaking, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, if you do have the physical office, it's nice. The agents kind of seem to want that, but do they use it? Really not so much. I forgot to mention administrative help. We got a fantastic administrator. She actually works between both offices.
Okay, oh, nice.
Just a rock star, and she takes care of our agents. And I mean, she loves doing her job. Her frustration is when agents aren't getting stuff to her quick enough and things like that. She really helped them succeed. She's their biggest cheerleader. She'll tell everybody that. But yeah, she's fantastic. She helps a lot with that. Agents love her. So that's been a big part of scaling then too. Like most business owners, like I'm trying to pull all the levers, wear all the hats all the time.
Yeah.
It's just not scalable. You can't do everything all the time. So yeah, that would be my advice then, to get yourself some good help. People, I've found it's not so much things, it's people. If you can find good people to surround yourself with, and then you pour yourself into them, it really does seem to help a lot. That's been a big part of our growth.
Absolutely. Yeah. And everyone's adaptable. I think I would say at least, 80 to 90% of the guests we had on the podcast here came from another industry.
Right.
Like I think last show I talked to worked in the repair industry, like a car service repair industry before. I think I know I did talk to a couple of ladies yesterday, separate conversations, that they both came straight out of college and went right into real estate. So there are some of us that, it's all we know, most definitely. But there's a lot of people that are, in other fields right now that would do great in real estate, like the servers, hostesses, people in the restaurant industry. I know I used to park cars, used to valet. A lot of those guys, are very good on their feet. They can talk with people for 20 minutes about nothing, and feel like that, both leave the conversation, feel like they just made a new best friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely huge. It's definitely a big step in something that, even if maybe we're not familiar with real estate, but we know we have the gift of gab. We can talk with people we like, helping people. We like help people in some of their biggest financial decisions, especially. It could be a great career for people, most definitely.
Yep, that's what we look for that a lot of times then too. My wife gets embarrassed. I mean, she's part of the business then too, but yeah, we'll be somewhere, we'll be at Chipotle, and there's just somebody there that's just, I'm like, oh my Lord, that dude was awesome, or that chick was awesome. You know what I mean? They could talk, they could, and I love, hey, you thought about getting into real estate, and it just, we haven't had a lot of luck with that yet. I have heard some success stories from other people, but nothing yet. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I know from Alan's brokerage here in Phoenix, definitely a lot of the newer agents come from all different walks. Yeah, most in that service industry, being able to just talk with people and already having that skill, I think that gives them a little extra confidence coming into the real estate game. But yeah, all walks, like, people in, blue collar work, people in 9 to 5, people doing kind of, maybe we're an independent contractor and kind of like doing solar sales out here in Arizona is really big.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, it's interesting. It's just interesting, a melting pot.
Absolutely. And and I think a lot of people in those different industries would probably do very well. It's
Yeah.
just right away, it seems like most people want the success without necessarily doing the work. Now that they don't want to do the work, they don't realize how much work it is. And maybe when they see
Yeah.
the work, they want the reward. It's just, it takes time. None of this is, I'm sure as you well know, it's not an easy business to get started in. So,
Yeah, building your pipeline and doing all the farming in your area, kind of making sure you
right.
get your name out there. It could be a lot. Social media definitely helps us nowadays. With that.
Yeah.
You're not having to pound the pavement nearly as much. And still getting that, being able to get the same outreach there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely is huge.
If you're used to the biweekly paycheck, that's a hard part then too.
Yeah.
Like, you can make some great money. I tell a lot of people it's the best job in the world and the worst job in the world all at the same time for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, the money situation is tough. A commission only business is very hard to get used to. But yeah, once you get going, you're smart with your money, you can make it work. And that's probably one of my biggest regrets. And one thing that I really talk to like a lot of our newer agents then too is not investing in yourself then too. You get those commission checks and you just, whether you save it or not, invest in other things. Don't just think you're going to go open doors for the rest of your life. Get
Yeah.
involved in something else. Buy, rental properties aren't for everybody, but get into rental properties. Buy another business. Invest in your, open up a Robinhood account, whatever. Like make that money start working for you because those deals just they don't come all the time, and you want to make sure that you can have something else to live off of. Hopefully.
Yeah, and that's definitely not talked about, especially with the kind of owner operators that are really forced into production and obviously enjoy producing still, but do it under their own right. If we have something happen, like heaven forbid we roll an ankle tomorrow, something that prevents us from being able to go there and show houses, that can really take a toll on us, physically, financially, obviously as well. So yeah, that is big. Definitely having that kind of back end support, having the team behind you. That hey, if I had a couple deals and something happened, I can't make it, I can send these guys out there, and I know they're gonna do a good job and take care of
Absolutely. Yeah, you definitely. And then my team, that's I forgot to mention them as well. That's been a huge part of it here. I've got a rock solid team. Our team is kind of the core of our entire business, and I got some fantastic people that really they love what they do, and we're in the office all the time. But we all joke about that. Just get your butt in the seat. That's half the problem. Is just
Yeah.
if you're not showing up, you're not going to get the success. More often than not, there's no guarantee of success, but you'll get there. But yeah, real quick, going back to the investing side of it, then I don't feel old, but I've been around for a long time. The 2008, 9, 10, I got friends yet too that were just gobbling houses up during that. And going back to the investing, had I not just been worried about going out and selling a house and getting a little commission check, had I been investing and buying that stuff, those guys are worth millions of dollars now just from that then. So
Yeah.
taking that time to invest and not just looking to hustle and get that commission check, look to put that money to work for you as best you can, and just believe in yourself. Like I've been broke more than I've ever had anything for sure. So I think, but my real estate career has been more, catching up and trying to pay the bills, and it has been, reaping any of the rewards. But here it is, 20 years in, and we're doing all right. We've got a good book of business, other investments, things like that. Really looking to grow, but don't let that stop you from trying to grow and get there then too. It's just show up every day, just get there every day, put in the work, do something, keep that growth mentality, whatever cliche thing, again, get 1% better every day, do just a little bit more than the next guy or gal. That's been my thing, is just, I'm not better, faster, smarter than anybody else. It's just, I'm willing to put in the work. I will outwork, put in more time than just about anybody in our market. So
nice. Yeah, but being persistent, like before, adding 1 to 2 people into our scope, into our sphere, however you want to say, in our book of business, anything you want to say there. And, each day throughout the year, we're building ourselves up with, thousands and thousands of people over, the course of a few years. But each day that on the inverse, each day that we take off is a day that, we might miss 2 or 3 people to add to that.
Right. But you got to be able to enjoy life too. I've got little kids yet, stuff like that. You got to be able to live life yet then too. But yeah, there's no such thing as a work-life balance, I don't think, but you just do your best. I've intentionally made a point. I probably, to your point, lose a lot of business to that. I've been very much conscious. Like, I want to be dad too. My youngest is 10. They're into a lot of things or a lot of sports. So I'm home most nights. I'm home still most weekends, which is hard in real estate. But it took a lot of years to build to that point then too. And I'm sure I miss I know I miss a lot of opportunities, a lot of business that way. But I've also got my team. I've got our administrator. I got a lot of other people I can lean on now. That wasn't always the case. I mean, I was working 12, 14-hour days for a lot of years, but it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to wake up someday, my kids are going to be graduated and gone, and that's not going to be, yeah. Would it be more successful had I done that? Had it, I guess, more successful as in money? Sure. But I feel like I'm pretty rich, and rich not by money, but I've got a good relationship with my wife, my kids. I spend time with them. We go on vacations, we do fun stuff. I can still be present in the community. I help and volunteer a lot. I've got pretty good health. I make a point to work out, at least every day or try to. So it's not all about money. It's not, you wake up one day and have all the money in the world and you're divorced and broke and your kids don't know who you are. That's not a good way to live life, I don't feel. So.
Yeah, and the relationship with the family especially is huge. If we don't have that, and at the end of the day, that can make everything that we have and everything that we work for feel like, not as important, not as useful. We don't have anyone to share it with or anyone to share those experiences with of traveling and things like that. So it's really awesome. I love to hear that too. Because that's something that can get neglected in real estate. Being able to work 24/7 around the clock, any day, every day of the week. That's great for like guys my age, don't have a family, don't have things, a place that we can really, grind 10, 12 hours a day, no issue. But yeah, that is definitely, there's something to be said for, when that time does come around and we do start to have, those kids, family, being present, being active in their lives is one of the most, if not the most important thing, we can do with our time. So
absolutely.
I agree with you there. And I think it's worth using a deal here and there, most definitely.
Right.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, this has been a really, honestly, awesome podcast so far. The last question I have for you. So if you were starting over today, or you're a brokerage or another brokerage owner kind of getting started to getting their feet set in the market today, what would be your advice for them? What would be something that you maybe wish you had, had started off sooner than you did?
Right. I think a lot of it too, I guess, really be sure that you want to be a business owner. Because it's like anything you do. I use the example of my sister. She's actually a culinary chef. She went to school forever. She built, makes fantastic cakes, pastries. She's one of the best cooks ever. But we've always said, you need to get in. You need to open up a restaurant. You need to open up a business, a bakery, whatever. And she just wants nothing to do with that. She just wants to make cakes. So there's one book I read, the E-Myth, Entrepreneur Myth, is to make sure that you're doing what you want to be doing. So that in this instance, she likes loves baking cakes. But if she opened up her own business, she'd be terrible at payroll and terrible at a lot of different. I mean, I'm sure she'd be fine, but you're not doing those things. So I find myself as I'm going to open up this huge brokerage. It's going to be awesome, whatever. I'm fighting with the copier. The cable doesn't work, so you're on the phone with the provider. You're going to be doing all those things, especially when you're starting out, like finding good deals on office equipment, and we started on a shoestring budget. We didn't borrow money. We didn't do whatever. We took money out of our bank account as almost everything we had to pay a franchise fee and get open and get running. You're going to do all those things. Don't kid yourself. You're either going to pay through the nose to have somebody set it up for you, or more than likely you're going to do is check equity or sweat equity. You're probably going to put a lot of sweat equity into it then. So I spend a lot of time messing with payroll and messing with lead sourcing, like our websites, and it'd be nice, we have a technical problem, you talk to somebody, call your IT department. That's me. I don't know, I know not to be dangerous, it's hard to do that. So be sure you want to do that and wear all the hats and literally do all the things. Talk to some other entrepreneurs, other business owners. Doesn't have to be a real estate brokerage. How much time do you spend, you're in a restaurant making something, or making food or doing whatever, you're in insurance sales, whatever. You're going to be doing a lot of those things, especially if it's your brokerage. Be sure you're ready for that. A lot of times I wake up, I'll just look at my wife and like, I got this and this and this to do. I'm like, what am I doing? Why are we doing this? It would have been so much easier to have hindsight to just get our team going and work under another brokerage. And I see a lot of other successful teams kind of doing that now then too, to where they're working under someone else's brokerage. They don't have to worry about paying commissions and paying payroll and paying whatever and balancing the books and reporting to the state and getting contracts in order. And I'm making it sound awful. It's really not awful. It's been fantastic, but it is just, you're going to do a lot of work that is not directly real estate related or bringing on agents. And don't fool yourself to think all these agents you have a relationship are all just going to jump ship and join your brokerage, because they're going to be like, well, what is, they want to make sure you're going to succeed before they start doing it. It took us a couple of years before we started bringing in some of the more successful agents and things. They wanted to prove, wanted you to prove yourself that you're still going to be around.
Yeah.
So I think you just really have to look at what do you really want to do. If you just want to kick butt and be just an awesome agent and do a ton of deals, then do everything you can do to where you got to your point, and then maybe bring on an administrator, part-time agent, something like that, someone that can start taking some of that workload off. So you can the rainmaker, they can do kind of the support stuff. If you want to build kind of a small brokerage or small kind of thing, get a good team going, bring on 1 or 2 great people, like my right-hand man, Brian, like him and I, like he was my first team member. We're together all the time then too. We want to grow together, want to do a lot of things. So ahead of him and I, and then we got Sierra and Carrie now too, they kick butt. If I could just start over, it would probably almost just be do that. Get my team, get on another brokerage, let that broker deal with all the nonsense stuff.
Yeah.
The copier, fixing the computer, getting the website set up. I can just complain to him that the contracts don't work in .loop and someone else will fix it. We can just go do deals, bring on a great administrator, and we'd probably make way more money right at the current moment with just that structure, a good couple people on a team with an administrator working under somebody else. But you can get to that point. The other thing would be, I guess, go big or go home, I guess. Kinda. You either, I think, want to say small enough to where it's manageable. We're right now at the point where it's almost, we're big enough to be able to do a lot of things, but we're not big enough I can bring on a ton of support and a ton of things. And, I can just sit back and be the broker, the CEO, and kind of look over things. I tell my wife that all the time. Like, I feel like we just need to shrink back down a little bit, or we need to get bigger. Like, we need about double in size to be able to bring on some more help, because it's just, more agents, more work isn't, more money isn't necessarily the thing. It's a lot more problems then too.
Yeah.
Not problems in a bad way. You just have more.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So that's kind of where we're at the point now too, to where we either need to shrink or get bigger. And every stage, every broker I've talked to, I've got a lot of relationships with brokers, small and big both. And there's challenges at every level. But so that was I don't know, one bit of advice. That was a lot of just ramblings, I guess. So.
No, and I'm sure someone looking to, start their own brokerage, looking to start their own team, I'm sure that would be very helpful, and as kind of seeing, both sides of the coin, giving them a perspective on, a lot less overhead on the team. I know some of the downside, or like the main difference between the team, obviously we don't own the team, can't sell the team at the end of the day and things like that. So that could be the downside of the team, but yeah, not having, all the overhead, not having all the stress, it can also be positive too.
Right.
And still get to do at the end of the day the same. Still get to help people in their lives. Still get to help people, put them in the right situations, in the right houses. So still getting to do what we like at the end of the day. But it can different options for them.
Yep, and part of that too, that we've thought of that as well earlier on, is we'll build this big business and be able to sell it someday. Well, we've talked to, so we've actually worked with some other brokerages with that. At the end of the day, if somebody wanted to buy us at our current status, we lease multiple offices. We don't own them. We have a bunch of furniture that we paid. It's decent furniture, but it probably isn't worth anything. If you bought our brokerage, we don't own the agents. The agents could walk out on you the next day. So we've had other brokerages we've talked to about, hey, why don't you buy us? Why don't you do whatever? Really, at the end of the day, what are you buying? So that's hard. So whether you're under another brokerage or you own your own brokerage, I don't know that the value prop is tough there. I mean, you'd really have to negotiate a good contract, key individuals stay on board, non-competes. I mean, you'd really want to be smart about that as far as acquiring or selling, a brokerage, a team, whatever. But yeah, I think anyone thinking about growing, they just really need to find, well, what do I really want at the end of the day? Everybody wants to drive their own ship. I want to be my own boss. That's how I was. I just want to be my own, do my own thing. And you can do that still as just a team under another brokerage, but you can really do it as your own broker. But again, you're doing all the things. I can't pick up my phone and say, I mean, I could if I'm going to pay for it, but depending on what's going on, it's usually going to fall on you, your wife, whoever's in business with you to fix the thing. Someone's running to Best Buy to buy a new Ethernet cable because you don't want to wait 2 days for Amazon to drop it off. Stuff happens. So.
Yeah, and that is awesome. I love the insight into, not everyone speaks about that. The kind of the little stuff that we, the day-to-day things that we get hit with as a brokerage owner, as a business owner. Not a lot of people share that side of the story. So I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I would like to say it's all, sunshine and rainbows. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun. We got a good team, and it's lead gen too. That's another big thing. I know we didn't get much into that. I mean, everybody kind of does different things, but we all kind of do the same things then too. And we don't have any secret sauce. It's a lot of stuff just that, we do a lot of the usual things, the Zillows, realtors, like we talked about. But again, if you're an agent, if you're a brokerage, come up with your own way to generate leads, get a good website, utilize social media, put some hooks in there, put some different things in there, offer, do seminars, webinars, just get have a lot of conversations at the end of the day. You can't hide under a rock. A lot of agents want to do that. They even get a great lead, and it's like they just want to shoot a quick text. Like, pick up the phone and call them. Just be. What do I say? Just be a human being. Just help them find a house. You're not going to go buy a house today. To have a good conversation with them, and then eventually maybe it'll go somewhere. So, but yeah, as far as lead, that could be a whole nother show. We could talk about lead gen. We got a lot that we do, Google PPC and stuff like that. But again, if you're the broker owner, you got to figure that out. How do you start building my business page? How do you start doing PPC? How do you do that would make my head want to blow up. It still does. So
yeah, and it can be, especially, all at once, and especially if we don't have that roadmap of any kind of a proper roadmap in place. It can, be even more daunting, kind of looking at everything through, kind of that tunnel vision, seeing everything that, that lies ahead of us there. So it could definitely be helpful having, a mentor in the industry, having someone that, we can kind of fall back on. Like yourself, having your agents being able to call you with a wife, kind of ask questions if they have things going wrong, going right, whatever it may be. That's an awesome tool for them to have, and every agent should have in their broker.
Sure. Yep.
Awesome. Well, hey, it's been incredibly helpful. I mean, I appreciate you coming out. I just realized that I was under Tristan's account this whole time, so my apologies for that.
But
let the people know where can they find you at? Any social medias, any websites?
I think probably the easiest. I mean, just our Facebook, our website. It's Remax Unlimited Results Realty. Like I said, we just started our podcast. We're on episode almost 20 here now. It's called Re-Up, the Real Estate Unlimited podcast. Unlimited seems to be in a lot of our stuff. Our mortgage brokerage is Motto Mortgage Unlimited. So, yeah, if you're looking at Northwest Ohio, you search our name, Bill and Kelly Jones, you're probably going to find us. We'll pop up somewhere then too. So, I'll give you my cell phone number. You want to call me, 419-618-0517. It's sitting right here. Call, text anytime. It rings nonstop. So I'll get back to you, I promise. So.
Nice. I say, and you guys heard it here. If you're in the area looking for new home, looking for maybe a new home for your business as well, Bill, reach out to him. We'll link the cell phone, we'll link website, we'll link everything down below, so you guys can check him out, get in touch with him. But something that he'd be helpful, and obviously he'll take great care of you guys over there as well. But great, Bill. Hey, I appreciate you coming out today. It's been another great episode of the Scaling Brokerage podcast. That was awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Appreciate it.